Hello ladies and gentlemen, engineers, this is Dilly from DevOps and Cuts. Today I'll be showing you how to deploy a simple web page in the cloud. Now to do this, we shall be using AWS Webserver, Web Services. You can go to aws.amazon.com, register for an account. You can get a free tier account for about 12 months. There you get some free services with limits. If you don't go beyond the limits, you pay next to nothing. So as long as you're careful, if you follow this implementation carefully, I will try and make sure that we keep costs to the barest minimum. Yes. So today the plan is this: open AWS. We shall use a EC2 as our virtual machine, and on the EC2 we shall install Apache Webserver, and then deploy our web page in the virtual machine, okay? And then we shall access our web page from the browser, the internet. So that's it, okay? So now I'll do this tutorial is very basic, and now I've done this so that we can go from beginner to mid to advanced. So I'll do this same implementation in 3 different videos. The same thing: deploy our simple web page in the cloud, but then I'll do it 3 different ways. This is the beginner one, so we shall use the command line and the AWS console. So we shall, write our, write code. We shall go to the console, press the button, tinker around, and set everything up, and then go to the browser and see that we can view our deployed web page. So this video will be about that. The next video, we shall do the same thing, but this time we shall use infrastructure as code. We shall use Terraform to write the code, mostly code, implement. Terraform will build and deploy. Fantastic. For this, you need to know how to script Terraform, how to configure Terraform, and you need to learn Terraform to do this. Okay. Now, in the third video, we shall go a step further. We shall still use Terraform, but this time we shall automate the process. So it will be code is pushed, the build, we shall use a CI pipeline this time. Code is pushed, the build is triggered, Terraform automatically deploys, the infrastructure, builds the infrastructure, and then deploys the website, and then we can access from the internet browser. So for this one, simple one, let's get started. I hope you're excited. I am. Let's do this. See you soon. So this is the plan for today. Okay. Launch page. Two instance in the cloud. That's our goal for today, this tutorial. First of all, you need to get an AWS account. So go to aws.amazon.com and register an account. You need to do this to follow this tutorial. Once you've done that, second thing is we shall spin up an EC2 virtual machine. This EC virtual machine will host our web server and website. So the third thing we need to do is log into via SSH and install Apache. Once we have installed Apache, then we need to go to the folder in Apache that serves websites and copy or create an index.html file of our choice in that folder. So for that, so create our sample HTML page. Index.html. Then number 5, we navigate to /var/www/html and create our index.html file here. And then finally, go to our browser and use the IP address of our EC2 instance to view our web page. Let's go to EC2 console, go to instances. We'll need to launch a new instance, so let's click on that. When we click on that, we can now go to a launch instance. This should bring up the download a form where we can configure our instance. Okay, so we need to give the name and tags, give any suitable name of choice. Always best to give a name that describes what we're doing. So we'll just name this my EC2 server. Okay, it's done. We shall choose an Ubuntu machine image. That's an AMI, that's the image that include the operating system we shall be using with packages. We'll go for Ubuntu. We are going to select the free tier eligible one, so that, as we said, we don't get charged. Also with the instance type, that's more like about the size of the instance and CPU memory. We're going to choose another T2 micro, which is also on the free tier, T2 micro, free tier as well. And then I want to create a key pair. We need a key pair because we'll need to SSH into the instance later to install Apache Webserver. So we need to create the key pair. When this is done, it will download our private key to our system, and this we shall use to access our instance from the terminal via SSH as a secure shell. So now you can see EC2 has been downloaded, my EC2 key pair.pem. That's the PEM file, which we shall use later on in our thing. We'll use later. Thank you. Okay, we can leave most of the things as the default settings. We need to create a security group. This is like a firewall which controls traffic into and outside of our instance. So create a security group, we've done that, and then the instance is being created. Okay, so we have our instance created. Let's check. Click on instances. That's my EC2 instance. We can see it's being created. It's in pending state. It needs to initialize, and that might take a few seconds. Let's just wait for that. We can refresh the page to see if it's ready. Now as you can see, it's running. T2 Micro, it's still initializing, but it's running at the moment. So now our next step will be to log into this instance and install the Apache Webserver, which we need. Okay. So now click on connect, click on connect. You can see the command prompt. So that's the command we shall need to run on our terminal to be able to log into our instance. You can see that it has the EC2 key pair on it, MyEC2 key pair, which is the private key we did earlier. We downloaded to our local terminal. We shall use this to connect, this command to connect to our instance. So now I've headed off to my VS Code terminal, and here I would run the command to connect into our instance. Before that, let's create a README file. Touches the command to create a file. README file, let's call readme.md, markdown format, so that we can document the process as we go along. So what have we done so far? What we have done so far, let's see. Let's have a recap. Yes, so I presume now we have created an AWS account, or else you wouldn't have been able to follow along up until now. Yes. Yes, we've also created an EC2 instance, and from that, while creating that, we did generate a private key, which we shall use later on to SSH to log into our EC2 instance, our EC2 server in AWS. Yes. Okay. So that's the first half of this done. We're halfway there now. We already have a server. The next step is we need to install Apache. Now, when we install Apache on the server, it automatically creates some particular files and folders. Of importance is the one that is /var/www/html. This HTML folder is what is where we will have our web pages from. So we need to create an index.html file and put it into that HTML folder. That way we can reach our web page from the internet browser by using the public key of our instance. Okay, so what are the next steps we have here? Okay, so I said first next step is we need to log into our instance. To do this, we shall use the private key we created while creating the instance. That's our private .pem file, and also we shall install Apache server, which we shall use to host our HTML web page, our website, a static website, static web page. So let's get this saved so we don't lose any information so far. Okay. So now let's go. We need to get the connection string, the command to log into our EC2. So select our instance and then hit on the connect button there. This will open a dialog box where we can see at the bottom example that is the exact command we need to copy and use to log into our instance via the terminal, via SSH, which is a secure shell, very, very secure. So back to a terminal. Let's first of all, we need to. It's very important to be able to log into the SSH using the private key. You have to either be in the folder where the key is held, so that the key can be referenced, or you enter the path to the folder where the key is held. If not, your connection will fail. So the command needs to know the location, needs to have access to your PEM key. This includes access, the right permission, as well as the location. So now I've gone 2 steps back to the home, and then I will now cd change directory into a download folder. That is where I have downloaded the PEM key. So for mine, I would change directory into the download folder, and from there I will run the command to SSH into our server remotely in the cloud. Okay, that's the command. So I would hit enter now, and hopefully we should be able to log into our instance. Voila, there we are. That has been successful. As you can see at the bottom there, we have successfully logged into our Ubuntu server. You can see that there. So now we're in, ladies and gentlemen, we're in. So the next step will be to begin to we need to begin to install Apache. Before then, we need to first of all update the packages. So we shall do run the command sudo apt update. That will update all the packages, ensure that everything is up to date, so we don't have any conflicts. So let's correct this. Sudo apt update. Then that's running. That should just be a few seconds to update the packages. Okay, yes, that's done. You can see it's back to the terminal. And now we need to run the sudo apt install Apache 2 with the -y flag. The -y flag just means that when we get a prompt to choose no or yes, it will just by default choose yes, so that we can run the script non-stop. So sudo apt install Apache 2 with flag -y, enter, and that it is. We're installing Apache onto our Ubuntu server in the cloud. That might take a few minutes, a few seconds as well. Let's see how that goes. This should be okay. Yes, there we are. Now we have successfully installed Apache, and it should be running in our EC2 instance. So now we have a web server installed. So our next step should be to access the /var/www/html folder and insert yes. So we need to install our index.html file in this HTML folder on our instance. Okay. Just give me a few seconds while we do this. I already have my index.html file already written out to save time. It's just a simple website, simple web page that just says, welcome to DevOps Uncut. You have deployed your first web page. So it says, simple one, just to serve this purpose. Hold on. Okay, so now we need to we've sheeted into the HTML file. You can see that there, and also we've done sudo vi index.html. This allows us to edit the file. Now we can see that there's one there already. That's the default one by Apache, which we need to remove. So I've tried to remove this, but it's saying cannot remove index.html, permission denied. Okay, so I'm going to use a sudo command to remove this. It probably needs the sudo to have the permissions to remove that folder, because I need to replace it with our own custom index.html. So give me a second for this. Okay, so we've done the sudo remove and listed it. Now it's been removed. That's fine. So now we have removed it. So now it's time for us to have pasted our own HTML, our version, and then now we shall save it. So we've saved it, yes. Save that. Yes. And now we have replaced the index.html in the var/www/html folder. So by now we should have access to our index.html via the public IP of our instance. Everything goes well. We're almost there now. So it's time to see if we can view our web page now. So let's go to our instance, to the instance, and then we should try and grab the public IP. Before then, let's look at the security groups. That's the firewall that controls access to our instance. Let's go to inbound rules. At the moment, we have port 22 open. But 22 is for SSH. That is why we were able to SSH into our instance to install Apache. We could add something else here, but I'll leave that for now. Let's try this. So let's first of all grab the public IP address of our instance and see if indeed we can view a web page. So let's go to back to the instance, the details. There we can see the public IP4 address. Let's copy that and head on to our browser and run. Now we can see it's just running. It's not loading. It's gonna time out. That's for a reason. The reason being we have not opened the inbound rule for port 80. Port 80 is for HTTP traffic. So at the moment it's blocked because it's not open in a instance. So we shall need to go back to the instance security group and open port 80. So let's go back, security tab. Let's go. We need to go to edit the inbound rules. So there are the inbound rules there. Click on the edit inbound rules, and we're in there. We need to add a rule, a new rule. We need to open port 80. So HTTP, that's port 80, HTTP and automatically port 80 is open. You can see it says 80 there in the port range. We select 0.0.0.0/0. I'm going to open it to the world, open it everywhere, and we just put the description of web browser so we know what it's for. And then let's save the changes. So it's been saved. So now we've opened HTTP access. So now let's refresh our page. Let's refresh this, and voila! Unbelievable. Now you have successfully deployed your web page. So that's it. You have successfully launched a web page in the cloud. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And in the next video I'll make soon, I'll be implementing this same process using infrastructure as code via Terraform. So I hope to, don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and be the first to see the new video. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye.